Nobody lived in flat number 7. Or at least, that's what we believed. It was November 2004 when my husband and I moved into our new home. Flat number 6, in a plain gray brick apartment block called Riverside View. We'd only been in the UK for about 6 weeks, originally from Ontario, Canada. Flat 6 was modest. Bedroom, bathroom, small kitchen, and a combined living and dining room. It wasn't glamorous, but it was affordable, clean, and a 12-minute walk to the rail station. We didn't need much more. Sure, some of the fixtures were a bit dated, the stove probably hadn't been changed since the late 80s, and the bathroom smelled faintly of old soap no matter how much bleach we used. But we liked it. We liked each other. It was our first real place together after years of back and forth between Toronto and Halifax. The building itself was quiet. It stood at the end of a short crescent on the edge of a town called Uxwell, small enough to be peaceful, but big enough to have a proper pub, a corner store, and a chippy that sold surprisingly good kebabs. Riverside View was split into 3 levels, 2 flats on each floor. Flat 1 and 2 on the ground floor, 3 and 4 on the first, 5 and 6 on the second. Flat 7 was at the top, a small attic-style unit with a sharply sloped roof and a wooden door painted navy blue, unlike the others which were all beige. Flat 7 was odd. No one had welcomed us from there. We met the tenants from flats 3 and 4, Mrs. Patel and a quiet Irishman named Doyle, within our first week. Then, a week later, a tall man in his 60s with a limp and kind eyes introduced himself as Malcolm from Flat 1. We rarely saw anyone from Flat 2, and we never saw anyone from Flat 7. No sounds, no lights, not even footsteps. The door never opened, not once. I asked Malcolm casually one day whether anyone lived up there. "Oh, that one?" he said, glancing up toward the ceiling. "Used to be a girl years ago. Moved out. Since then, nobody, far as I know." Fair enough. Plenty of flats stand empty for months between tenants. But something about Flat 7 made me uneasy. There was a draft near the staircase that led up to it. A strange humming behind its door when you passed by at night. Sometimes it even smelled odd, like warm plastic or heated metal. My husband, Ryan, didn't notice, or he didn't want to. "You're just spooking yourself," he told me with a grin. "You've watched too many ghost documentaries." I suppose I had, but things began to change by the second week of December. Slowly, subtly, enough that you could ignore it until you couldn't. It started with footsteps. We came home one Friday evening from dinner out and both paused at the base of the stairs. Above us, on the top floor, we heard walking, heavy, deliberate pacing from one end of the flat to the other. We froze. "You hear that?" I asked. Ryan nodded. We stood for nearly a minute, not speaking, just listening. Step, 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 then silence. He shrugged. Must have rented it out. We went inside. Neither of us mentioned that the hallway light on the top floor hadn't been switched on, or that we didn't hear a door close. The next morning, I checked. The mailbox for Flat 7 was still stuffed with old flyers and a soggy takeaway menu. Not touched. I checked again the next day. Same. On Sunday morning, as I was taking out the rubbish, I spotted something else. A newspaper, crisp and folded, on the doormat of Flat 7. Now, this was strange. First, who still got newspapers delivered in 2004? Second, there was no delivery that day. Ours came on Saturdays and always early. This one was dry, clean, and new. Ryan was skeptical. Maybe it got pushed there by mistake. So I watched. I checked again that evening. It was gone. By Wednesday, it had happened twice more. Newspaper down in the morning, gone by the evening. No sounds, no doors opening, just gone. I joked with Ryan that we had a ghost who liked to keep up with current events. He laughed. I didn't. By mid-December, things got worse. We started getting phone calls. The first one came to our landline at 1:12 a.m. I remember the time clearly because I woke up in the dark, bleary-eyed, and stared at the blinking digits on the clock radio. I answered groggily. "Hello?" Silence, then crackling. A long, drawn-out static that reminded me of the sound old televisions made when they weren't tuned to anything. Then a voice. It whispered something. Too soft to make out. I sat up in bed. "Who is this?" A chuckle. Low, male, then click. I didn't sleep well after that. The next night, it happened again. This time, Ryan answered. "Hello?" His expression tightened. "Speak up, what?" Then his voice changed. "That's not funny. Who is this?" When he hung up, he was pale. "They said your name." We called the phone company the next day. They said the number was blocked, couldn't trace it. They suggested we change our number. We didn't. We figured maybe it was someone local playing a prank. A bored teenager, maybe. Until the letter came. It was just after New Year's. We were back to work. I came home first and checked the mail. Among the usual junk was a small envelope addressed to me. My full name, spelled perfectly. No stamp. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of lined paper. In the center, printed neatly in block letters, "I see you." That night, I told Ryan everything. The footsteps, the newspapers, the humming. I even admitted that I sometimes heard whispers behind Flat 7's door late at night when I passed by for laundry. He took it seriously now. We agreed to speak with the landlord, but the landlord, Mr. Blake, was puzzled. "Flat 7?" he said over the phone. "No one's rented that unit in years. Still empty, far as I know." "Could someone have broken in?" Ryan asked. "Not likely. That door's reinforced. It hasn't been unlocked in ages." "I'd know." Ryan thanked him and hung up. He looked at me. "You still want to stay here?" We didn't decide right then, but that night as we sat watching TV, we heard it again. Steps, heavier this time, pacing, faster, then a dragging sound like a piece of furniture being pulled across the floor. Ryan got up and stormed upstairs. I followed. He banged on the door of Flat 7. "We know someone's in there. Come out." No answer. "Maybe we should call the police," I said. He didn't respond. He just stared at the door. Then, quietly, he reached out and turned the handle. It opened. Flat 7 was dark. No light, no sound. Just an empty hallway lined with peeling wallpaper. "Stay here," he told me, and stepped inside. I waited. 30 seconds passed. A minute. 2. "Ryan?" I called. No answer. Heart hammering, I stepped into the flat. Empty. No furniture, no lights, nothing. Just bare floorboards and an unmade mattress in the far room. A smell like burnt toast, and a mirror hanging crooked on the wall. He was gone. I ran to the hallway and yelled. Ran back down the stairs, checked our flat. Checked the landing. Nothing. Then I heard the door close behind me. I turned. The door to Flat 7 was shut again. Ryan stood in front of it, face pale, sweating. "What happened?" I asked, voice shaking. He didn't speak for a long moment. Then I walked in. I walked through every room. "You didn't follow me." "I did." "No," he said. "I was in there for maybe 2 minutes. When I came back to the door, it wouldn't open. I called for you. I didn't hear anything. It felt like I was in there for hours," he said quietly. We moved out that month. But Flat 7 wasn't done with us. 2 weeks after we moved, I got another envelope, same handwriting, inside a photo, taken from above, through a window, of us, asleep in our bed. The timestamp was the night before we left. We showed it to the police. They investigated. They found nothing. They told us, just like before, that Flat 7 was unoccupied. Still is. At least, that's what they say.